We have the updated facelift of the Kia EV6 for you, and Kia has made changes not only to the design but also to several aspects within the technology department. This means they have implemented larger battery packs, increased the peak charging rate, improved the vehicle's suspension for greater comfort, enhanced the noise insulation, rolled out new software, and much more beyond that. And much more. With small fine details that we'll first present to you today in a classic review with a drive report. In the second video, we take the EV6 facelift model year 25 onto the highway to see how it performs in terms of consumption and charging during a test run. Whether the range and efficiency are really improved. And in a third video, which follows a few days later, we take a road trip with the EV6 from Neustrelitz to Brussels and back. Thereby, through these videos, you will get all the detailed info on this new electric car. I'd say that's plenty of reason to check whether you already have the necessary ticket for the videos. That's essentially your subscription. We'd really appreciate your support through a free subscription. And then you won't miss the latest videos in the future, like the EV6 facelift update. I'd say we don't waste any time and kick off with the brand new Kia EV6. And as always, we'll start from the outside, start from the front. Let's take a look at the new front section. The EV6 model year 2025, the boomerang design in the daytime running lights remains, but now it extends across the front to the other side and returns here in the boomerang shape. Standard are LED headlights that can switch between high and low beams, and optionally, depending on the trim, there are three variants: Air, Earth, and GT line. Just like we have them, then even with adaptive dual LED headlights that also come equipped with matrix functions. Those supposed to entice buyers include these suggested air vents, although it doesn't actually feature any R curtains like we see in other cars. Additionally, the feature for opening and closing the front vent for thermal management purposes has now been cleverly hidden behind a sleek panel, which I find very stylishly integrated. We have it finished in wolf grey metallic, a color exclusively reserved for higher trim levels. It kicks off at a starting price of €44,990, and then in the GT line, like with all the others, you can choose 19 or optionally 20-inch wheels. But here, we've opted for the GT line wheels paired with Ultra Grip Goodyear winter tires. It already looks really nice, don't you think, Stefan?
Yep, even in winter.
I find it really good when you can introduce new looks from time to time. Yes, this wolf frame in grey metallic is not quite like the chalk color you might see with Porsche or the shade of slate grey Neo, but it's exactly in between. Yes, exactly. And especially in combination with black gloss, which we have here in the GT line, I find it really stands out nicely. Here you can nicely see this hovering arrow roof with the interruption. There's also lighting inside for the dark, so it gets slightly illuminated. So I believe this cross-utility vehicle has been given several new and noticeable enhancements or upgrades, hasn't it? Absolutely. And when you take a closer look at the head section, you'll notice the LED rear lights have been subtly modified. The rear edge spoiler still hovers a bit more broadly above it because the lighting is integrated within. In this area, it's nice and airy, and what we still don't have, just like before, is a rear window wiper. Could you please comment below as to whether or not you believe it's necessary? What we definitely have, which is important for some of you, is a big, thick shark fin. But at least it's somewhat cleverly hidden in the color of the car.
No, black would look really ugly too.
But I believe it used to have that glossy black finish.
Yeah.
Yes. Like as a center marker, you know, when someone drives behind it, they know where the middle is. Joking aside, the rear bumper down here has become more stylish now with implied air outlets and a bit of a diffuser look. I think the rear light or the fog light is integrated here. Somehow it looks a bit better. At first in the pictures I thought, no, it's not for me. But now in person, I have to say chic. What I also find chic is that it no longer features the black glossy wheel arches that were seen in the GT line or other variants, but instead they are beautifully finished to match the body color perfectly.
Exactly, that looks really good.
Let's shift our focus to the length now. Stefan, please switch to a wide shot for better clarity. We're doing this in a nice one take today. It measures 4 meters 69 in length, 1 meter 88 in width, including mirrors, stands at 1 meter 57 high, and has a wheelbase of 2 meters 90. And between this, the wheelbase now basically has not 58 kilowatt hours as the base, but 63, of which you can use 59. And also the battery pack of the larger variant Infotainment, which we have, has 84 kilowatt hours, of which you can use 80, and thus also about 7, almost 8 kilowatt hours more battery capacity. Kia succeeded. Why? By integrating higher energy density into the same space, the same battery pack naturally extends its range. It's supposed to cover over 570 kilometers. The charging port is back here on the right, Stefan. Look, 3-phase 11 kilowatts, so unfortunately there still isn't AC with 22 kilowatts at Kia. And DC is now going up to 270 kilowatts at peak. I think before it was 243 if I remember correctly. And what was the reason for doing that, you might ask? Because it enables the small as well as the large batteries to charge from 10 to 80% in a span of up to 17 minutes, which definitely reduces the waiting time quite a bit. Sure, here's the shortened version. Yes, very good. And to that end, Kia has further optimized the preconditioning, giving it more power, both in cooling during summer and heating in winter, to make certain that those charging times can truly be met much more frequently. Sounds pretty cool at first, right?
Let's see what happens.
For the drives, nothing's changed. You either get RWD with 170 or 229 horsepower plus the big battery. Or like the AWD, then with 325 horsepower, 605 newton meters of torque. And it also has the same acceleration values from 0 to 100, namely in this fawn-like 5.2 seconds. We'll try that out together with you later. GPS measured and top speed are now 185 kilometers per hour. We'll check that on a fuel drive or road trip, right? Yeah, we'll see if this thing goes over 180 kilometers per hour, right? Before we risk getting something slipped in once more, let's go ahead and take a look at Frank. Agree? Yes, exactly. There you have a volume of 57 liters with the rear-wheel drive variants and 20 liters, but that's sufficient for a Type 2 charging cable. And then with the all-wheel drive variant, it's certainly better than nothing and ensures that, especially with such lousy, nasty weather, that we don't have to mix the wet, dirty, muddy charging cable with the luggage, right?
Sehr gut, ja.
It's still properly insulated, it's always had a hood vent installed, so there's really nothing to gather here, right? No, just to listen to how it sounds, right?
3, 2, 1, and then you simply go.
Still feeling quite satisfied, we'll naturally also be taking a look inside the trunk with you, which is essentially the rear cargo area of the vehicle. And when you've locked the car and activated the smart tailgate control, there's absolutely no need to kick, press, or perform anything unusual. Simply bring yourself nearer with the key. About the whereabouts, it beeps 3 times and then it opens. It's a cool technology, but it doesn't work if the car has what you might call quotation marks ignition on. Yes, in the trunk there's still a generous 490 liters of storage space available. It's actually more than sufficient, wouldn't you agree, Steffi?
Yeah, that's quite nice with the spacious rear section here.
More is always possible if we think of colleagues from the Skoda Enyaq or VW ID4 and 5, which are also in the same classes. Here we have a double loading floor with a kind of felt finish. But what Kia hasn't done, they don't listen to us and probably not to other colleagues either, that remains hard plastic material here.
That's not fully covered up, which is a bit of a shame, really.
And that just suffers over the years of use. We have a lot of experience with the EV6 because this is our second time having it. We treated ourselves to a new one just before the model update. There was a special lease offer. An EV6 starts at 2.49.
You really have got to love deals like that, and always be sure to
Die
keep
Augen
your
aufhalten.
eyes open.
Ja.
Therefore, make sure to keep your eyes open. The EV6 is often available with highly attractive leasing terms, which could actually make the initially intimidatingly high purchase price seem much more reasonable. Because ours also had almost 60 kilos, I believe, in the business AWD package we have from the author from Luchtenberg. Greetings go out to Burscheid near Leverkusen. And we actually got a good deal there. Yeah, again, hard plastic. I would have preferred some carpet here. Also up here, some sort of harder plastic. Yeah, but in the end, there are many of you who say, hey, what do I care? I mostly just put my luggage in, and after me, the flood, so to speak. Yeah, it's not nice. But you can adjust the backrest to make them more upright and expand the cargo space. You have the option to also have a convenient pass-through for a lengthy object, or perhaps during wintertime for skis as well. And what Kia does brilliantly again is that you can fold down the rear seat with the spring preload here.
That's amazing.
Mega.
Left for the driver's side accounts for 60%, while right for the passenger side accounts for 40%. And then it increases from 490 liters to 1,290 liters, and that's pretty decent for a cross-utility vehicle, isn't it?
That's going well, yes.
What still absolutely cannot be missing, of course, is this somewhat wobbly parcel shelf. It's quite sufficient for placing a coat, jacket, or any other sort of items or belongings you might need to put on it, as it conveniently opens up electrically.
Auto closes.
Let's test it. It should work. By the way, you can also set it to different speeds. Fast and slow. Look, soft and with soft close. Kia really spoils us, right?
And that's what they do, yes.
But what Kia also provides is a roof load, specifically with Arctic kilograms. So if you're fans of the refined roof rack sport, my hands are staying in my pockets today. It's cold and windy here in Mecklenburg, 0 degrees. Then you can place it on the roof and you will have the option for a trailer hitch available in all versions.
Wonderful.
For the small battery with the small rear motor and 170 horsepower, I only found 750 kilos braked and unbraked. I think it's okay for use around the house to dispose of some garden waste or something like that. But here it comes. With the larger battery, whether rear wheel or all-wheel drive, the braked towing capacity at a 12% incline increases from 1.6 to 1.8 tons. That's really great, because that's quite exciting. It's really all about towing the small boat. It's about pulling the horse, or maybe, if necessary, 2 small horses. It's about maybe possibly transporting the travel trailer along with you. And therefore, I believe it's a cool story.
Sure. Yep.
And the support load is now 100 kilograms. That means a good bike rack can safely hold 2 e-bikes, maybe even 3. Or if they're ultralight e-bikes, even 4 of them, because you might actually have room to travel with the EV6 with 3 or even 4 people, right?
It's certainly a possibility.
I think we'll take a look at that now, together in the interior. You know what's great about electromobility?
That you have a parking heater?
Well, and that it's nice and warm here inside. And yes, maybe that's the perfect transition. I'll also hurry for you, Stefan, here to the interior. To start, we have double glazed windows featuring 2 glass panes that are bonded with a film. Kia indicates yes, we have again focused intensively on interior noise and insulation, particularly in the area of the wheel arches. It seems the rear motor no longer makes high-pitched noises, which we hadn't really noticed.
I totally love your hairstyle right now. Because it stands up nicely.
I can't change it. It's windy here. Look, here it's nice and soft and grained. Looks fancy, doesn't it? Yes, we've finally gotten rid of the piano lacquer, here in black with a slightly matte grain. Here's a door handle that has a darker chrome finish made out of plastic, and yet I think it's really quite fine. Look, here's a lint from my sweater. Then we have a light padding here. I'd really like a bit more there. Yes, and maybe some extra padding up at the top as well. Because if you really enjoy the refined and sophisticated art of elbow sports, it'll eventually catch up with you. Well, I think if we drive to Brussels over 800 kilometers there and back, we'll feel it. Yes, here once more, the piano finish is gone. Then we essentially have the counter here for the fries. We have 4 window switches here, the rear lock option, mirror adjustment, and the locking mechanism. And then here again, such a plastic faux leather is also quite chic. Meridian surround sound system is supposed to have improved as well, especially in the bass range. So it's supposed to sound richer. Here we have a carpet with felt placed inside. I think we have that from the earth level, so from the mid-range equipment. We also have that in our model update now, so it doesn't rustle and rattle as much here. Look, it does make a little bit of a difference.
Sure, indeed.
So, and down here we naturally have the enthusiasts of the refined plastics. And it really shouldn't go unmentioned that, of course, the EV6 also incorporates a significant amount of recycled materials. Kia places a great emphasis on that aspect. That such a car is also produced sustainably. At least that's what I got from the brochure. Do you think that's true?
Yep, you just gotta believe.
Oh, I see. Welcome to the inside of the Kia EV6, and you'll notice there's been quite a bit of change with the material mix in this space too. To start, this new upholstery here looks particularly stylish, especially on the right with the GT line branding, and then we also have the 2 monitors seamlessly integrated into this mount, which is slightly curved for added effect. Here in the middle, we didn't get the climate menu like with the EV3 or EV9, which I actually find quite okay, because the steering wheel is always in front of it and it's hard to operate while driving. I'm sorry, I need to be honest here. Up there, we have the head-up display, which essentially delivers the crucial information to us. And then, with the assistance systems, as we'll clearly notice later while driving, they've gone through quite a lot of detailed fine-tuning once again, particularly in the realm of lane keeping and also with highway drive assist too, especially within the semi-autonomous driving domain. The steering wheel is also brand new, here in the two-tone design. I know some of you already didn't find the two-tone look quite stylish on the EV3, but it's also available in solid colors. R and Earth have that two-spoke steering wheel again, which I somehow didn't find visually appealing. I prefer this one. Nice, matte keys, no more glossy. And yes, everything's easy to use. Then the drive mode switch has moved here to the middle because we now have the three-spoke steering wheel. Flat at the bottom, and in this particular GT line version, it's adjustable electrically as well. Otherwise, I believe it was manually adjustable. That means you can adjust things like distance, spacing, height, and everything else quite easily. Create individually. Yes, so here we have unveiled a brand new graphic, almost like we've completely reimagined the tiles with an innovative visual approach, yet the most significant elements are really placed inside, so to say. That means we have much faster processors in here. You can also see it when you scroll back and forth. Here you can really do some rhubarb. Look at how it's done here now.
Very good, yes.
Look, I really have to say, Kia, that's quite a highlight. And the big highlight is I remember from the old EV6 that you had to go to the workshop for some updates. So now it's probably the case that all updates, whether for the car or for the infotainment system or even map updates, are now completely possible over the air.
That's really quite brilliant.
So it basically minimizes having to go to the workshop for an update. Otherwise, he has to, I think, I'm not entirely sure, I believe every 2 years and after 30,000 kilometers go for a check so that you also get the warranty. I don't think that was annually, was it? I'm not sure.
Or, these security-related aspects just don't have to be set up.
A really neat feature for all fans of casual smartphone interactions with their car is that Android Auto and Apple CarPlay are now available in a completely wireless mode.
Wi-Fi.
And the inductive charging pad here has not only gotten more power, but now also features a stylish display showing your battery level and how it's charging. Looks really cool and animated, yeah.
Is that ventilated?
Yes, it's certainly been lifted up like that, but so far I haven't found any ventilation here.
That was always the case with the old one, that the devices would quickly...
We'll come to understand all that when in Brussels. We certainly won't be misled by anyone there. Now that the piano black finish is removed, it really looks a whole lot better, doesn't it? Also again in this plastic that looks brushed. The two cup holders remain. Here's another compartment for small change or other knickknacks. We've got the inside noise gauge with us. The switches aren't shiny now, I find that stylish. And here is this control section. Notice where you have the ability to switch between options, then it's between the menu control and the air conditioning feature. It hardly gets any better.
Just simplicity.
Yes, what also got removed is the USB-A port. I found it kind of old school, yeah?
And now, since everything has to be USB-C from January 1st anyway...
that's why there's another new EU rule.
All mobile devices and whatever else, tablets, now must have a uniform USB-C.
Oh, that's not bad. Yeah. The view through the passenger door gives you another glimpse of the space concept, shows you once more how ergonomically comfortable I can sit here. I have electric seat adjustment here too. I think there's also, at least from the GT line onwards, I think even in the Earth line, it's available at least optionally with a memory function. And yes, here you have the opportunity to put down and park a large bag, perhaps a men's bag, or even a women's handbag. There you can clearly see the two USB-C ports. With the left one, you actually have the option to choose whether or not you wish to utilize the onboard computer function. Have a USB-C port here again and a 12-volt socket. I actually find it quite nicely done. Yeah, and otherwise the covering has changed a bit here again. Look at this fabric, but it's not super soft. No. Then here, a large storage compartment where quite a bit of stuff can fit. So in that sense, we actually have enough options here. Yeah, the seats, I believe, are pretty much the same old ones. We have this microfiber material here, which is this Alcantara, as the Spaniards would refer to it, perforated elegantly. In the GT line, you'll find ventilated seats included. They're unique to the GT line and not offered as an option elsewhere. We have a heated steering wheel, front and rear heated seats, and seat ventilation. Well, it's your choice if you need seat ventilation. I find it comfy in summer.
Sure thing.
And the black with this white or light gray, I actually find quite chic too.
Yes, that's good.
Nice extended support for the legs and good lumbar backing. Yeah, shoulder pads could have been a bit more substantial. And then over here again, we have the comfort headrest. This means you have the ability to adjust it again in several increments. That's quite nice, don't you think? Black roof lining, rear privacy glass. These are all features of the GT line. Looks classy. Then we have a nice big glove compartment here. Well, carpet or felt would have been nice. He simply doesn't have it, unfortunately. And down here, it all goes back to being hard plastic. Just like the door entry area. Yes, the floor mats appear to be just as basic as they were before, not any more valuable. I find it a bit unfortunate, and here, of course, you can hear it. Everything as well, right? Yes, hard plastic. So if you drive over cobblestones alone, it can rattle, right?
Then it gets loud again, yeah?
Does Ollie, with his 1.85 meters and his 99.9 kilos, I weighed it meticulously at the turn of the year, still fit on the back seats of the Kia EV6, and it works? He sits.
Nice, and you also have plenty of space from what I can see here.
Yeah, so there's plenty of space here. I've got about a hand's breadth of room, which is really nice, but I think it's absolutely identical to the previous version. The only downside is that the battery pack raises the interior a bit. This causes me to sit somewhat higher up and have a slightly larger angle. In a combustion engine car, your feet can easily end up 5 to 10 centimeters lower. And I can also fit better under the seat, depending on how the seat height is adjusted, because we don't have an optional foot garage here, like I believe we had in the Taycan or Audi e-tron GT. Yes, then we can adjust the back seat here, like in different stages. That'd be the steepest if you need more space in the trunk now. Of course, that works on the 60% too. And then you've got like 3 or 4 steps up to this reclined position. Oh, that's really nice, right?
Yeah, that looks comfortable too.
Yes, then here with the center armrest. Here we have another large compartment which can also be transformed into 2 cup holders with a sliding element, for example. Actually quite chic, but it would be cooler if it went a bit further. And if it could be a bit further forward, there'd be more room here. At least I don't have to sit awkwardly here with my elbow in the cup holder. I've encountered that problem with a significant number of vehicles, and that's clearly not cool at all. Yes, the fabric at the front is also the fabric at the back, so it's another Alcantara look here, perforated. Nonetheless, there is no ventilation for the rear seats, only heating is available. And then we have ISOFIX attachments where you can easily slide the child seat through. That's really, really tight. So I could easily imagine that quite a bit of effort might actually be necessary there. Feel free to share your experiences in the comments. Yeah, otherwise we have a strap here that you can tuck behind like this. However, you can already hear the difference. Well, if it's jammed, perhaps it won't rattle around then. But it's quite prone to rattling noises since everything here is plastic. So Kia doesn't opt for using fabric or leather, like other Asian brands have already shown us. That it's possible, but my goodness, we'll somehow manage to make it not rattle, right?
Sure.
Well, otherwise 3 times ISOFIX. Do we even have 3 times ISOFIX? No.
The driver's seat has none.
I also made the Skoda Enyaq video in the studio for you today, and the new Skoda Enyaq also has ISOFIX on the front passenger seat, so it has 3 times. It's starting to get slightly mixed up with the videos here, but that's completely all right. Yes, back here we have a lovely plastic detail. I don't think it's so chic.
It was all nice and shiny from the front, but a mess from the back. Look,
A small scratch here. Yes.
that's just a sort of scratchy combination.
Then we have this bag here. It fits a newspaper. You can pack a tablet in it and so on. Then what we have here is just plastic all around. There's absolutely no type of display and certainly no control features included. Again, for the air conditioning, it's all enclosed. USB-C is integrated in the seat. It's cleverly and thoughtfully designed to make sure there's convenient access if someone needs to bend down. So, in that regard, they paid a little attention to ergonomics. Yes, the door panel at the back, Stefan, is kind of nice, just like the front door panel.
Felt inside at the base. Gloss varnish removed.
Take a glance, Kia even offers a bit of ambient lighting. Therefore, overall, it is indeed quite chic and stylish. Maybe if he could have bike chain, it all costs money and margin. Perhaps do a bit more here and there with the material mix. At least we have here in the B-pillar vent nozzles that can be opened and closed. That might actually be quite good. Then it's not so obscured by the knee and you can adjust it reasonably here, enjoying a bit of coolness and warmth in both summer and winter.
That's surely good for sure.
Outside we've shown you everything. Let's move on to the driving review. We want to see how fast it accelerates, how it drives, and what interior noises it has. Let's start with the driving report of the Kia EV6. We want to check the turning circle with you. I'm going to drive around Stefan now, and the EV6 provides a turning circle just like its previous model of 11.60 meters, which is pretty impressive for this kind of vehicle. I think that's okay for a 4.69 meter long car, but it's not a top value because I also know from the Skoda Enyaq that with RWD or rear-wheel drive, it has 9.3 meters. And that's a huge difference, 2 meters. I'd almost run over your big friend, right? That's really crazy. Equally important, if not even more crucial than the turning circle, is of course the capability to park comfortably and conveniently in the city. In the Kia EV6, as you can clearly see here, there's also excellent support for this, for example, through a 360-degree camera with helpful guidelines. Yeah, you can see that's quite a substantial turning radius. You can really feel it here, right? Could I have made it even tighter, right?
Absolutely.
So now we're going to carefully park up next to the colleague's vehicle here. And you can see quite nicely down to the ground here as well. You also have the chance right here to zoom around your EV6. There are often many people who find themselves getting bored when parking and tend to use that feature. I think I have that in my EQS. I don't even know. I used it once. Yeah, probably for the video or something.
Yes, I probably hear it.
Well, all right then. You definitely have the opportunity to display the reversing camera in a range of different situations. That's for sure really useful when you've got a trailer so you can clearly see where exactly you're steering from the trailer's point of view. So essentially what I have here is the usual standard view, and then there's also this special wheel view for those who might be lacking a bit in imagination, making it challenging to park their car without scraping or accidentally hitting their wheels during the process. The press car also has a dent on the rear right rim, and so it's worth glancing at the camera. And then you have a 180-degree view when you need to back out of a driveway or exit. I think that it's genuinely quite useful for easily spotting children, cyclists, and other road users. That's why I appreciate the front camera. You can see the wheel variant again here. Then you've got the 180-degree version here, which is a bit, even though the car is freshly washed.
Just a water droplet.
A water droplet. So then we have the normal view here. Look, even with guidelines.
Ach, stark.
It's really not unimportant at all if you're unsure of your destination. You can then clearly see the pathway of the tires. Kia truly delivers, you genuinely have to say, and a 360-degree camera system is definitely something that some individuals might not want to miss out on. There's also a parking assistant that lets the car park itself. Let's just skip that part. It tends to take too long. Shall we bump over the cobblestones? Oh, look. Except for my coins, there's nothing rattling or clattering here.
No, those are probably EV6 events, so
Please hold on here, the old pothole. Aha.
dampens it well.
But I have to tell you, with the old EV6, it felt like you were hitting your head against the ceiling. It was that hard. Yeah, I can already tell just in the first few meters that this one seems to be tuned a little bit differently or something, right?
All set.
We're currently cruising on our scenic, winding Mecklenburg country road, and we want to take you along as we swiftly navigate through this left-right combination, all while diligently adhering to the roadside rules and regulations in place. On one hand, it's quite firm, so you do notice some bumps, yet it gives a sense of being somewhat more comfortably tuned overall. Yes.
Absolutely, we've already noted that.
So it adapts a bit better to the driving situation, especially now where the curve becomes sharper. I also have the feeling of a better steering feel. Previously, you would somewhat feel that it slightly understeers over the front axle. Now we're starting to get into a slightly more complex left-right twisty combination here. That's almost like the Suzuka S. But even there, I have to say, it pushes nicely through. The seats truly provide excellent lateral support, so cruising around this area at 70, but do it quite elegantly, right? And we have a second route where we nicely drive down into such a dip. The chassis here with its winter tires, a nice, sharp and edgy right turn with several noticeable bumps. He's striped, yes!
He was a bit behind.
I am telling you, it is really due to the soft mix of the winter tires. We've got about 0 degrees now, give or take, so it's got a bit of work to do here.
Yeah, you can really tell.
Nonetheless, in my opinion, it's still nicely tight and firm, and you can effortlessly glide through with elegance while in sport mode. To steer around the curves, we want to do the launch. I'm in sport mode. Stefan has prepared the GPS device. Start the countdown. 3, 2, 1, go. All-wheel counter, boasting 25 horsepower, swiftly hits 30, then 50 onto 70, reaching 90, and we push on. And now we perform the tram test, stepping on the accelerator fully, and it hesitates beautifully. Find result, Stefan. Yes?
Yeah. We have 0.60 in 3.39 seconds. 0 to 100 in 6.51, and from 100 to 0 in 3.39. That means
He is a good second slower. This might be attributed to the road conditions, the possible impact of using winter tires, or the fact that he doesn't have the optimal temperature at the moment. In winter, we're naturally different than with summer tires, so I think it's okay. Let's continue testing the suspension. We've got some nice curves ahead here. And on one side, it offers a certain comfort and doesn't just tear everything through. But it has some firmness, right?
yes. The other was worse.
Although right here, it still continues to have a slight bump, yes.
He handles it.
But I mean, you certainly don't want a cushy ride. A cross-utility vehicle should provide a sense of sportiness while also offering that desired travel comfort. Well, I think during the road trip to Brussels in the third video, that's when we'll truly discover where we stand, don't you think?
All right, let's see what he can do on the long haul and if it glows behind it.
We exited sport mode, returned to normal driving, and of course, we're eager to test our right-left curve here once again at a speed of around 100 kilometers per hour. Yes, it handles quite well. It immediately steers in without any pushing over the front wheel. He even makes the left turn look sexy. So in terms of comfort, he's a bit softer now, isn't he? About driving feel, right?
Yep, right.
So he does this really, really well on the country road. It's naturally a bit damp because of the wintry conditions. So we probably don't stand a chance of matching the factory's acceleration figures, do we?
No, I think that'll be rather difficult today.
Well, giving it a try makes you wiser, right?
True.
Well, what makes a good electric car is also having a good sound system, right?
Absolutely. Over here we have even more media.
Certainly, but that version has been revised once more. It's intended to deliver a slightly increased bass and depth. Well, I can't really see a huge difference, but it sounds good. But it didn't sound bad back then either, did it? Not really. I mean, we don't have a direct comparison, but I actually find it quite pleasant, don't you? Yes, that's right, exactly. We will be measuring the interior noise levels together with you while driving at a steady speed of 50 kilometers per hour. "54, 55, 56 decibels. I hit 60 before. That's very quiet, isn't it?
That's good.
We'll drive at 70. "57, 58 decibels. I'm accelerating to 100. "63, 64 decibels, just for comparison. ID4 and ID5, they're in the mid-70s decibels. That's over 10 decibels difference. That's worlds apart. So I believe this is one of the quietest vehicles we've ever tested.
Mega, I'm really genuinely excited.
Yeah, I was thinking the exact same thing, and I didn't even realize I was over 60. I mean, there's no speed limit here, but I actually wanted to measure the value at 50 for you. Therefore, given this particular context, Kia is genuinely quite correct, as they have apparently invested extensively in the insulation.
Certainly, yes.
We'll go at 100 kilometers per hour here, in the semi-auto mode through this tight curve. We've previously been steered into the opposite lane by some cars. I understand that it's really a kind of the highway drive assist feature. That means, in essence, driving right in the center of the lane, and similar things are more of a priority in this context here. For the highway, as it is clearly for the country road here, yet it has been notably improved and nicely refined as well. That means if you have the steering assistant activated, but it doesn't switch at 70, it only does that for highways, Stefan.
Sure.
That means when you have the steering assistant turned on here, it keeps you, as you can see on the information display, look, always nicely in the middle of the lane, even without now having turned the cruise control, the adaptive cruise control on. And even when I turn it on, then of course it does, especially then. So, and we can speed up nicely to 100 again here, because there's the next sharp turn coming up. And now I'm genuinely curious, so let's stick with this.
What holds us?
Well, she can't manage it in the last one. I mean, with our setup. I mean, with the pre-facelift model. Definitely, I've already been in oncoming traffic with you before. I had my hands at the ready anyway, just in case something went wrong here. but I trust the box. Please take a look at this. And to be fair, Kia is almost catching up with the VW group, Mercedes and BMW. When it comes to lane centering, well, that's really great. Yeah, sorry, I just got the words taken right out of me here and my voice. This has turned out really great. And what I really like is that even here, take a look in such a village. Be sensible and keep things regulated. We stick to that again because I might want some semi-autonomous help on one hand. Plus, there's the faction we meet all too often. What we certainly don't do, Stefan, is play around with the phone, look for something in the car, change something on the radio, and how quickly can you accidentally drift out of the lane?
All right.
See how he keeps the center here. Yes.
He's great.
Yeah, he really does an excellent job at that. Just imagine if Kia could manage to do it as well. This predictive control, as we have it in the VW group, as we have it with Mercedes and BMW, where it automatically accelerates to 100, I have to manually adjust here again. That he anticipates this in advance, enabling him to recuperate or smoothly coast down to reach the new speed, then he would undoubtedly be in the top league.
I'm so sure.
And so, unfortunately, he stays with a solid B+, but more in the second league. Look, now here's someone coming who's always driving fast, also in a Kia. So Kia stands for power, right?
Yes.
Let's delve into the driving comfort here in the Kia EV6, and so we can evaluate it in a relatively neutral manner compared to other tested vehicles, both on country roads and within city environments. We developed a tool called Stefan's Popometer, ensuring we maintain a certain level of neutrality in our evaluations. Stefan, could you tell us how's the current reading on your botometer swinging today?
Well, I'm sitting very comfortably here. I really appreciate the side support these seats offer. Even earlier during our little curve ride and the like, it kept me firmly in place without tossing me around. I really think it's great. As for the suspension, I must say, okay, perhaps that's a bit exaggerated, no. Well, regarding the suspension, as we mentioned earlier, it has become firmer yet remains quite comfortable, in my opinion. He handles potholes really well, absorbing them nicely. It doesn't jolt your back like it used to, and I just find that pleasant. And sounds in here, sorry, amazing.
That absolutely aligns perfectly with my impression as well. That's the key reason why I executed that particular moose test slalom maneuver once again. In all honesty, I don't think he's become any leaner than he was before. He has always been lean, but now he has truly become considerably more balanced overall. You get the feeling as if the car knows what's coming its way and then basically adjusts the damping accordingly, so to speak. That's truly quite brilliant, very impressive indeed, and you can clearly notice there are even fewer swaying and tilting movements now, particularly when you perform maneuvers like a gentle slalom or similar actions. So from that perspective, I believe Kia has genuinely kicked things up a significant notch with the car's suspension system. I'm genuinely quite happy about this development, as it greatly enhances the car's overall comfort and makes it much more enjoyable to drive. Yes, that's exactly right. However, in moments when you need it, it lacks the essential firmness, especially when taking corners. Or when you're driving slalom, that it doesn't move like a rocking horse like some SUVs do, and especially Asian ones. So, we already have a very, very high standard here in Europe. But the Americans and the Asians, they are more like rocking horses. And I think this one is so mega European, yet still so pleasantly comfortable. Well, in that particular price range, this truly gives you the impression of being one of the best suspension systems available that you can possibly find in a mid-range car. Wouldn't you agree? And with that having been said, let's proceed to wrapping up our thoughts on the 2025 model year update, which introduces improvements to the Kia EV6. We can't draw a proper conclusion because the consumption test is still missing, Stefan.
Correct.
And we still have our eagerly anticipated upcoming road trip to Brussels scheduled to truly and effectively consolidate all the important values together. In the interim conclusion, I observed that Kia has undertaken substantial adjustments to their popular and successful EV6 model. So higher battery density and therefore a bigger battery, and logically a bigger battery paired with a bit better efficiency, also with a higher range. But let's try it out. Hopefully, we'll notice it in the consumption. We'll try it after the drive. We've got new suspension, which gives a very impressive initial impression. We'll be updating this again during the long-distance drive spanning over more than 1,600 kilometers. Could be that this was just The first impression, and that maybe on long distances it's not as comfortable as we imagine.
We'll see, definitely.
But that definitely makes a good impression, and you have the essential functions here like Apple CarPlay, inductive charging surface, so Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, wireless. So then there's the appearance. Everything has been modernized a bit, made to look nicer, and improved overall. Now also all over-the-air updates. Then the steering wheel, which many disliked, has also been visually changed a bit. At least now available in a GT line featuring 3 spokes. So from that perspective, along with a few updates in the assistance system area that are quite positive. Actually, I believe you can genuinely say that it is absolutely worth taking the time to consider updating the model. If you currently only own the older model, and you have to constantly keep a close watch at Kia if you don't plan to buy the car outright but perhaps want to lease or finance it instead, that you secure an awesome offer there, just like we took advantage of it back then, for the new one.
So, as you're aware, Kia frequently presents truly great leasing deals at consistent intervals. So simply check them out.
And then the EV6 could potentially be the perfect match for you. With that said, we've now reached the conclusion of today's video, where we provided you with an in-depth review and detailed driving report of the EV6 model year 25. In a few days, the consumption run with the charge check will come, and then a few days later, the third video arrives. Then with the road trip to Brussels, I hope you enjoyed the videos. You give it a thumbs up. Please check if you're part of the einfach Elektrisch community. If not, we'd be happy if you support us with your free subscription. That way, you won't miss the consumption drive, charging check, and the road trip video. And then we'll definitely see each other again with the latest electric cars. We would be delighted if you support us. Thank you in advance. And of course, thank you for watching this video. I'll say hello and also goodbye for now. You're Ollie. See you soon. What about you, Stefan?
Yeah. Exactly, isn't it?
This new silhouette of the daytime running light here. Yeah.
This new front. I just really like it so much. It's quite sleek.
In the dark, you can instantly spot the new one easily.
Absolutely. Look at this. It looks so stylish, really.